Hello, everyone. My name is Marshall Rosario, who has been practicing health and safety for over 30 years. This brief talk is in two parts. Part one is intended to differentiate between pleasure and happiness, which may seem similar, but they're different. Sometimes, in the pursuit of happiness, we tread on or seek the wrong things in life, which may lead us to mental health issues. Part 2 later looks at differences between happiness hormone serotonin and pleasure hormone dopamine. Dopamine creates a desire to repeat whatever pleasurable activities we are doing, meaning it increases our tolerance and eventually lead to addiction. Let's look at that in part 2. For now, according to Robert Lustig in his book, there are primarily 7 key differences. Allow me to simplify these 7 differences. Before we do that, here is a question for you. Is there any truth that too much pornography or similar pleasurable activities can make the brain shrink? In this talk, we will explore how overindulging in simple pleasurable activities, including those mentioned here, can soon lead to increasing our threshold and tolerance, where the brain will seek for more and more. Sooner, larger doses of pleasure are needed to recapture the original basic pleasure. In another word, we can get desensitized, thereby increasing our addiction and even the death of neurons. So the key message from this talk is the more pleasure we seek, the more unhappy we get. Before we get to that, let us see the key difference between happiness and pleasure. Pleasure is a state in which we feel good and enjoy what we're doing. Pleasure is usually caused by external stimuli and often involves the 5 senses. For example, we get pleasure from the smell and taste of good food, a thumbs up, or more likes in social media, or from the sight of a beautiful person. In pleasure, the emotions and feelings are active, like excitement, euphoria, climax, feeling high, feeling of being over the moons, etc. However, in a state of happiness, there is calmness, peace, and satisfaction. For example, we feel happy when a difficult problem has been solved, when we receive good news, when a goal has been accomplished, when we are in love, when visited by families and friends. Here is the good news. We can train the mind to reach a state where happiness and peace are experienced more and more often. One way to achieve this is by freeing the mind from the compulsion of thinking non-stop, moving from one thought to another, by seeking and enjoying inner peace, by not having too many expectations from ourselves and others. The more peaceful our mind is, the more happiness we can enjoy. Happiness is long-term. On the other hand, pleasure is a spike which often doesn't last long. It could be because our attention moves to other matters. Happiness is giving or doing something which benefits others. The selfless act of thinking we and us, for example, writing a book, uploading a video which can help others, sending an old photo to friends, giving time for others. But pleasure is taking or doing things that benefit only ourselves. The selfish thinking of me and I just can't see outside my needs. Like reading a book or being on the social media when others are around. Some people get a buzz with erratic driving or flexing their muscles or raising their voices. All these are short-term pleasurable activity. Have you seen the happiness in communal eating, which is prominent in some cultures? Look at the camaraderie in team games and among spectators supporting the local team. Whereas pleasure is achieved alone, like eating an ice cream, gambling in a casino, on social media, or visiting a brothel. Pleasure is attained from substances such as alcohol, drugs, nicotine, sugar, or even activities such as shopping, gambling, social media, video games, etc. Happiness, on the other hand, is achieved through many activities, including those which I have abbreviated to Me-Link. This is taken from the NEBOSH working with well-being cause, but there are many activities that can give us happiness. There is no such thing as being addicted to too much happiness. But when you are with happy people, the mood spreads to the others. It rubs on. Do we not feel the happiness when we get greeted? Look at the happiness when dog walkers meet. On the other hand, extreme pleasure is addictive, like shopping, gambling, social media, internet, pornography. We will explore why this is in a while. Now, let's look at the biochemicals or hormones which the brain makes, or the neurotransmitters which communicate between neurons. Happiness releases the hormone serotonin. This is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. We look at this in more details in the next part. Pleasurable activities, on the other hand, releases dopamine. This is an excitatory neurotransmitter, i.e. the next neuron get excited. Chronic exciting of neurons results in neuron death. So excess dopamine can lead to addiction, which erodes both present and future happiness. Furthermore, dopamine downregulates or squash the happiness hormone serotonin, meaning the more pleasure we seek, the more unhappy we get. So, these are the 7 key differences between happiness and pleasure. In part 2, we will look at the difference between the happiness hormone serotonin and the pleasure hormone dopamine, which can lead us to deeper waters. We will look at how the pleasure hormone dopamine creates a desire to repeat whatever innocent pleasurable activities we are doing. If unchecked, it will increase our tolerance to our pleasurable activities and can even lead to addiction and even brain cell death. Thank you all and see you in the next part. Signing off, Marshall Rosario.